Hey everybody, it's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. How are you guys? I'm so happy to be here with you. And today we are going to do a video about how to color the cute little elephants in the Elephant Parade stamp set. So this is a super cute stamp set called Elephant Parade, and these little guys are just adorable, aren't they? So there's a few ways that you can color your elephants, and I like to shade mine and make them really cool. But I mean, if you're in a hurry, you don't have to go through all the effort that I am going to show you that you can go through to make them look super realistic. So I'm going to show you two different methods that you can use to color your elephants. Okay, so I'm using gray granite on these elephants. You could use smoky slate if you wanted to. I like the gray granite color for them. I think it's more realistic to the elephants. So I'm going to use gray granite. But the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp these little guys, and I'm going to stamp them with the Memento ink pad here. I'm trying to get a couple samples here to show you of the different styles. Okay, so this is two versions of coloring the elephant. So this one's a more detailed, and this one's a more simple. So you can do them in two different ways, and I'm going to show you how to do both. But how cute are these elephants? They're so cute, right? I love them so much. They totally make me happy. All right, so let's start. Oh, let me show you this other one, the one that's sitting, this little guy right here. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. So here are also the two versions of the elephant, more simple and a little more detailed. All right, let me start by stamping my little elephant. So we're gonna take the Memento ink pad. We'll start with this little guy here that's sitting that I just showed you. And I like to bring my ink pad to my stamp. I just really like it because I can see really well that I've inked up my elephant really good. So I'm gonna just stamp him down here in the corner. All right, and then I'm gonna stamp I guess I'll stamp this guy, the one I haven't showed you yet that's going in this direction. We'll stamp him as well. And then we'll stamp the other guy. Let's just do all three. I don't want this video to be super long, but I do want you to see how you can stamp this little elephant and get some cute detailing with him, okay? All right, so there is the Memento ink pad with, I'm gonna actually put him this direction so he will fit and I can die cut him. So cute these guys are, right? All right, so let me clean my stamps real fast. I don't edit my videos, so you have to endure things like me cleaning my stamps, but I think it's worth it. Life's too short to edit videos. Like, I don't know. I'd just rather be stamping. Okay, so these little guys, I'm just gonna sit them here so you can see them. Hopefully they're still in camera. I'm not really the best at that, but I'll just put them. Actually, I'm just gonna get them off the camera. You can see them here. Okay, so I'm gonna move my Stampin' Blend so I can be in the camera for you guys. So we have the three little elephants. We're gonna start with this one that's sitting right here. So in order to get this kind of shading, instead of this kind of shading, I'm going to show you this first, and then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to bring it up to this level, okay? So to get this basic shading, you're going to start with your light gray granite, and you're just going to color all over your elephant and saturate it. And you're going to do the same thing to get this shading. So the first step for all of them is just to coat the elephant in your lightest color. If you're doing smoky slate, then you would use smoky slate. But I just like the gray granite to have that little bit of brown with the gray. I think is more realistic. And even though this is a cartoon elephant, I still wanted him or her to have that really cute shading and coloring of a real elephant. So that's why I chose gray granite. So I'm just going to go here and I'm just going to avoid the nails. And you see how I'm just kind of like outlining first. Once you do the outline, it's a lot easier to do this large stroking. And I tend to use the bullet tip for most of my coloring. I rarely use the brush tip unless I'm gonna like flick ink in like a splattering form. Okay, so I've shaded my whole elephant, you can see there. And that's with the light gray granite. And then I take the dark gray granite and then I highlight things like the ear, this ear area, this piece here. I'm going to highlight this inner part of the ear and do this back end. I'm going to go over the artist's marks to do the trunk and all of these little cute lines along the trunk. I'm also going to shade like under the neck here. I'm going to do a little shading down here and kind of follow these outlines that were set by the artist right here. And then I'm going to darken the tail and I'm going to follow that little line right there. So that is the basic shading for this elephant here, where you just do some basic shading. I'm going to just come around here around the face a little bit. And when that dries, you're going to have that same look that you have here. You can draw over the top of those shade lines to blend them in. Just like that. You just kind of go over the tops of them and blend them in. And around the neck here. When you give it that coat, it helps blend in that darker color. We're going to do the same thing here around the face. And then when it dries, you're going to have the look of that this elephant on the right here. All right, so that's how you do the basic elephant shading, okay? So now I'm going to do this elephant right here. Well, I'm actually going to transform this elephant and turn him into this shading right here, okay? So what we're going to do next is to get this look. I've used, excuse me, oh my goodness. Let me take a little sip of something to drink there. Okay. I happen to have my coffee with me. All right, so to get this shading on the elephant, once I've done a basic coat of the light gray granite, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use the light basic black. So I'm going to take that light basic black and I'm going to highlight different parts of the elephant. So I'm going to highlight this ear area. Okay. And I'm going to highlight this ear area right here. I'm also going to go under the neck. I'm going to highlight the artist's marks, the eyebrows. Okay. I'm also going to highlight along the leg area here at the bottom. All right. And then I'm going to do the trunk. I'm going to do these little lines right here at the trunk. I'm actually going to do his mouth, and I'm going to come up a little bit on the jaw. And then I wanted to give the elephant kind of spots. They don't have really spots, but they have like darker patched areas. So on this elephant, since you see it the most, I'm gonna do it right here on the head. The head is the most prominent part of him, so I'm going to give a couple little dots like that on the head. And then I'm going to take the dark gray granite, because the whole thing has been already shaded in the light, and now I've used the light basic black, and I'm going to shade all of that black in. You see how dark that is? And I know you're thinking, what the heck? That looks horrible, but watch what happens. So we're going to start here, and I'm going to shade and blend that light basic black into the elephant. Okay, and I'm going to just go over that piece. I'm going to do the same thing on this ear, and I'm just going to blend that dark line in. So those are the two ears. I'm going to do the trunk next. I'm going to blend in these lines. And along the mouth here and along the jaw. I'm also going to blend the eyebrows in. And then the forehead lines. All right. And then I'm going to wait for the dots on the top. I'm going to do the neck. So I'm going to blend in the shadow here at the neckline. All right. And I'm going to wait to do the bottom. So now I'm going to shade the whole face of the elephant. Now that I've done all of the blending with this, I'm going to avoid his eyes. I'm going to go around there. And I'm going to come down here on the face. And I'm going to avoid that eye again. And then when I get up here, I'm going to stroke over those dots, and then I'm going to start blending those in. So I'm just going to go in a circular motion and really blend in that dark area of my elephant. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to come along this line, and I'm going to actually turn. I'm going to move these guys off of this paper because I have to turn him. It's easier for me to pull towards me, so I'm going to turn my elephant because I don't want to go outside of the lines. So I'm going to pull towards me this direction. So that's why I have him upside down right now. And I'm going to pull that dark color up. And then I'm just going to go ahead and color the rest of him. And I'm going to go back over that shadow. And then I'm also going to come back in here, and I'm going to fill in this head area. I'm going to actually add a couple more of these dots. I want them a little darker. So I'm going to add a few more. And then I'm going to blend those in. Okay. So I'm going to add those in there. I'm going to work the jaw area and under the neck a little bit more. And of course the ears, in those sections of the ears. And then I'm going to draw this darker color down. I want to leave kind of like an open whiter area in the center, like right like that. So I'm going to color around the eye. And then that open area, I'm going to come back in with the light gray granite, and I'm just going to brush right over the top of it to blend so it's not so stark. And then at the top of the head again, I'm going to add a little bit more color with the dark gray granite. And just make sure that I've blended it as much as I want it. Now we're going to let that dry. But this is basically how you shade your elephant to look like this one compared to the basic elephant right there. So it really depends on how much you want to do, how much work you want to put in, and how much shading that you want to do. So there is that guy, okay? Let's work on this middle elephant. Okay, so for the middle elephant, again, I'm going to start with the light, and I am going to go ahead and color the entire elephant in the light gray granite. I love coloring with these Stampin' blends because it's so quick. The head, of course, is the largest part of this little guy, right? He's so cute. Work around the eye area. And we're just basically putting a coat of gray granite all over this little guy, avoiding his little nails. And let me get his body. And then we're gonna do this ear right here. All right, so there's the basic elephant. Now remember, if we were going to shade him like this elephant, we would just take the dark and we would go over these lines around the ear area. I want to teach you guys how to do this. You're going to darken under the neck wherever there would be a shadow. And then you would go on the trunk, and then maybe his belly area and down this leg, and then maybe his rump, okay? And then you would do his tail, and maybe his eye, maybe his eyebrows, and then you would come back in with your light, and you would shade over that, just making sure that it blended with the color underneath. And you would give him another little coat like that. And this is the light gray granite that I'm going over the dark with. And when it dries, you would have the basic shaded elephant, okay? Just like that. So there's your basic shaded elephant. Now we're gonna turn that up a notch, and we're gonna make him shaded like this guy here, okay? And make him look like his friend. So we're gonna come in with, again, the light basic black, and I'm gonna add a shadow along the neck area. On both sides. I'm gonna do his mouth. I'm gonna come over these little parts of his trunk. I'm also going to add by the ears, right here, just like I did before. I'm gonna go over these little forehead lines and his eyebrows. I'm going to shade down this side, and I'm gonna give him some dots on this back end of him. And I'm also gonna give him dots on his head area, like that. So that's the basic, the light basic black that I'm going to be adding to this elephant. I'm probably gonna add a little bit here in the belly, just like that. All right, so that starts you out with the basic black for this particular one. We're gonna come in with the dark gray granite, and we're gonna shade like we did with the other one. We're gonna shade that ear area. We're gonna shade this ear area. Okay, blend that in. We're gonna blend in under the neck. So I'm gonna work on both sides of that line, and over here on both sides of the line in the mouth area. Now I'm gonna work down the trunk. I'm gonna work those lines in as well. Gonna do his little foot here, his little foot here, and then let's do this side here. We're gonna work this line. I'm gonna turn it this way, because remember I told you it's easier to pull towards me to blend. So I'm gonna pull towards me in this direction. And I'm gonna blend those little dots that I put here on his bottom. And then we're gonna go ahead and shade the rest of him. All right, and then let's do his head, his face. So I'm gonna come here where the eyebrows are. I'm gonna blend, the wrinkles, and then his eyebrows. I'm gonna blend those in first. And then I'm gonna do the little dots on his head in a circular motion. I'm gonna give him the little hair up here, and then I'm just gonna start blending those right into the light gray granite with this dark. All right, and then I'm gonna also go around his face, around his eyes. I don't wanna get those. And remember how I told you I wanted to keep that light in the center? I'm just gonna do a circle here, or an oval shape of where I want it to be light. I'm gonna come back over the top of that with the light gray granite because I don't want it to be so stark. And then I'm gonna go back with the dark, and I'm gonna go over this area one more time and blend those little dots that I made in with the basic black, just like that. Shade a little bit more on the forehead, blend that in on his face, blend this neck area one more time, blend these little dots one more time, and then I'm going to turn this direction again because I'm going to pull towards me. I'm going to do his underbelly, and I'm going to pull that color up. Now, on this end here, I went a little bit outside the line, and I got a little bit of the color onto his little toenail here. So I'm going to use the color lifter. I'm going to push that color right back in to the design so that you can see that line. And then I'm just going to just barely go over that toe area and make sure that it's nice and bright. And then one more time with the light gray granite. I gotta find that one. It's this one. I'm gonna go over this middle face area to blend that in. And if you get anything on the eye, you can come in and bring the color lifter in and brighten the eye area up. I think I'm gonna add a few more dots like I did last time. I really like that mottled look, and I think I blended a little too much up here and back here. So I'm gonna add a few more dots, and then I'm gonna come in with the dark gray granite and blend those in. I love the look of that. I think it makes him look much more realistic. And there is our second shaded elephant. All right, let's work on this little guy right here. I'm gonna teach you how to make him. So we're gonna start with the light gray granite, and we're gonna just shade the entire elephant. There's his ear, his little head. We're gonna avoid his eye area again, go around that. Make sure I don't go outside the lines. Where his mouth and his trunk are. We're gonna come down the back and down the side of him. Do his little feet, his belly, his other foot. And then don't forget this one that's in the front. And then let's go ahead and shade the entire guy. All right. So there is the light gray granite. We're gonna come in with the dark. And to make him look like this, remember we're gonna follow all of the lines on the trunk. We're gonna highlight this end of him. We're gonna come down his mouth like this, down this one leg, his belly, the back end of this leg, the back side of him right here. We're gonna highlight his tail a little darker. We're gonna come along this ear here, okay? And then we're gonna do his little wrinkles on his forehead, his eyebrow, and then we're gonna go around his ear like this. And if you just leave him like that, re-blend in those colors like I've shown you before. Just blend those into the light gray granite. You're going to end up with a really cute, basically shaded elephant. Why does I? And see how it blends, but it still keeps that dark gray granite line. And you're going to still see those highlighted areas. And when it dries, it's going to dry like this, where you can still see those dark areas mixed with the light. Okay? So that's how you do the basic shading of the elephant. Now we're going to turn him into a dark shaded elephant like these guys, okay? So to turn this little guy into a dark shaded elephant, we're going to take the basic black, the light version of it again, and we are going to highlight his ear right here in the inner ear, okay? I'm also going to highlight down his mouth area and down this leg, okay? I'm going to do his underbelly. I'm going to do this line right here of his leg. I'm also going to come down this way, and I want to add a little bit of darker down the belly area here. I'm going to do this back part where his neck meets, and I'm going to do part of his rump here, okay? I'm going to do his trunk. I'm going to go over these lines that are on his trunk. I'm also going to do his eyebrow. I mean, not his eyebrow, his little wrinkles. And then I'm going to add some dots up here above, like where his hair is on this part of his head. He doesn't have much room for us to do the dotting. You can also add some back here on the rump area. All right, so that is the light basic black shading so far. So now I'm going to take my dark gray granite, and I'm going to shade. I'm going to start with the ear. So I'm going to shade that light basic black right into the ear here. Just going to circular motion and then a straight brush stroke to brush that into the ear. I'm then going to work on his trunk. So I'm just going to use a shading motion or just a straight back and forth. And I'm going to highlight that part of his trunk. All right. Let's get his little eyebrow and his forehead wrinkles. And then, of course, the little spots that I put on his head here. We're going to blend those in. Make sure we avoid his eye. We're going to let that dry a little bit, and then I'll see if I need to do any more shading at the top of his head. Let's go ahead and do the shading here by his tail, on his rump, and then we're going to get this back line. And then down here where the neck meets the head, okay? Let's do his little tail. Again, I'm going to turn him so that I pull towards me. I'm going to pull this line. I'm going to first wet it, and then I'm going to pull it towards me and shade that dark line in. I'm going to do his belly area also. Circular motion, and then draw that color out towards me. Again, same thing here. Draw that color out towards me, and then you can also do your line. Put your line back in. Remember, if you go outside the line, I'll show you how to pull it back. So we're going to go ahead and pull the little legs here. We're going to come up this side, and then we're going to color over the top. Going to leave a little bit of shading here, like how I did on the other parts of his forehead. I'm going to leave that kind of open. I'm going to go back over this rump area where I did the dots. Same thing up here. Add just a little bit more color. Let's go over his trunk a little. Okay. Isn't he so cute? My goodness, I'm going to add a couple more spots at the bottom back here. And maybe a couple more farther back right in there. And then I'm going to use this light gray granite to blend in this little ovalish area. with the dark gray granite, I'm going to shade this again, add a little more color there. And same here, I'm going to pull that. All right, and I'm going to draw that color down and make sure I get around his eye here. I'm going to get this part of his trunk. And his tail. And then I'll show you how to push that color back in. Right here, I've kind of gone outside the line, so I'm just going to push that color back towards the line with the color lifter. And a little bit I got outside right here. I'm just going to run on the outside of that line and push that color in. Make sure that I have it all the way. That looks good. And right here, he's just kind of small, so sometimes you do go outside the lines, but the color lifter helps you to push that color right back up. Let's see if I add a little bit right here. I think I want a tiny bit out with the light gray granite. And there is our shaded elephant. That's this direction. How cute is he? I'm gonna go over with a brush tip right here of the light. I just want to add a little bit more light there, light gray granite. All right, guys, so those are how you do the 3 elephants with the dark shading and how you do them with the basic shading. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm not sure how long I've gone, but I did color 3 animals for you. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I appreciate your time. I hope that you will enjoy coloring your elephant parade, and stay tuned because I'll have 5 videos on this bundle, and you should be able to catch them shortly. Thanks for staying here with me. Please subscribe for more content. Share my video with friends that you think would really enjoy it. And I appreciate you guys. This is Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. Happy stamping!